Wow, how quickly did that turn around? What was Christian Horner saying to us? The racing gods need to shine down on us. They certainly did.
We need a miracle, said Christian Horner. The miracle arrived.
Mate, you absolutely deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You've had no luck. Not the rub of the grip. Recharge on, please. Recharge on.
Max, we are so proud of you.
So this 2021 season, the gift that keeps on giving. This is the narrative you've all been given, that it was so close and Max fully deserved it because he led the most amount of laps in the season, so that makes you fully deserve everything. But coupled with that, Max had no luck whatsoever. Everything went against Max. I mean, what about in Hungary, where Max got taken out by Lewis Hamilton's teammate? Well, he didn't. He finished the race still, but you know, his race was impacted. That happens. What about all the other misfortunes suffered by Max? You know, he had no luck. Everything was against Max all season. But when you go through each event, you realise that that's not the truth. Let's compare and contrast a couple of different things here. So, let me teach some of you budding journalists how to go about doing this. We have this thing called the internet, and on the internet you can do searches. So you can search for the FIA official website. When you go on there, along the top here you've got sport, and you can come down to competitions, World Championship, and it's got FIA Formula 1 World Championship. When you click on that, then it comes up with this page, and you can scroll down a bit and it's got F1 official documents, and you can press on that. You can select your season, and we'll pick 2021, and you can select your event, and your event, well let's have a look at Bahrain, because what about Bahrain? So you click on Bahrain and it gives you the list of FIA official documents at that event. Okay, so you can scroll down and you can have a read. Okay, now I know a lot of the kids these days, they don't like reading because unless the information can be given to them in full in a 10-second TikTok clip or a 3-word meme, then they've already moved on. They're not interested. Not interested in actual learning, actual knowledge. It's got to be fun. It's got to be snappy. Otherwise, you've lost their attention. The way the world's going. Incredible. What a species. It's called evolution. The future. Anyway, so you go down this list and you can have a look. Because I like having a look. We've got... Where are we? Got to scroll down a little bit. Race Directors Events Notes version 2. So when you click on that, what it does, it downloads it to your computer. And then you open it up. I've already done this earlier, a bit like Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix. The Race Directors Event Notes version 2 from Michael Massey. So you can scroll down then. There's a lot of standard stuff in there. Okay. All of us that read the event notes, avid readers, you know, we see that these things are repeated. But we come down to section 21, which is track limits. What about Bahrain? What about Bahrain? Track limits. Let's have a read about what was going to be considered in terms of penalising track limits. So track limits 21.1 practice sessions. A lap time achieved during any practice session by leaving the track and cutting behind the red and white curb on the exit of turn 4 will result in that lap time being invalidated by the stewards. In the race though, the track limits at the exit of turn 4 will not be monitored with regard to setting a lap time, as the defining track limits are the artificial grass and the gravel trap in that location. In all cases during the race, drivers are reminded of the provisions of Article 27.3 of the sporting regulations. So, Article 27.3. Let's have a look. Article 27.3. Drivers must make every reasonable effort to use the track at all times and may not leave the track without a justifiable reason. Drivers will be judged to have left the track if no part of the car remains in contact with it, and, for the avoidance of doubt, any white lines defining the track edges are considered to be part of the track, but the curbs are not. Should a car leave the track, the driver may rejoin. However, this may only be done when it is safe to do so and without gaining any lasting advantage. At the absolute discretion of the race director, a driver may be given the opportunity to give back the whole of any advantage he gained by leaving the track. So, what does that say? Just says that cars are to try and use the track. That's all it pretty much says. If you gain an advantage by going off the track, so if you're trying to do an overtake and you go off the track, so I'll say you've gained an advantage, you've got to give that back. Right? Does it say that leaving the track 3 times will result in a penalty? Does it say that? Doesn't, does it? Drivers, when they start monitoring these things, this is something that within the sport has become more of an issue in recent times. Who started that? Oh, that would be Red Bull. That would be Red Bull inciting the crazies. Oh, Lewis is leaving the track there, but as soon as we go off track and perform an overtake, you tell us we're not allowed to do so. You have to give the place back. Oh, Lewis is leaving the track, but as soon as we kick off about it and go, oh, well, we're going to do it as well, you say, no, you're not allowed to do it. Well, you're drawing people's attention to what people are doing, and it is kind of professional players taking liberties, as I've explained before. In the game of football, when the ball goes off the side of a pitch for a throw-in, the throw-in is supposed to be taken from where the ball left the field of play. Often, the player taking the throw-in will try to move himself up that touchline 4 or 5 yards, or as much as he can get away with, and throw the ball in from there, trying to gain some advantage. That is what happens in sport. It's down to the officials to crack down on. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Now, what would the other team do? If my team is playing a game of football, and every time it goes out for a throw-in, then we try to gain 5 yards up the touchline before throwing the ball in, that's what we do. What would the other team do? They'd do the same thing. They'd try and do the same thing when they were throwing the ball in. But if they kick off to the referee and go, oh, look at them. They're moving up the touchline 5 yards. They're moving up the touchline 5 yards. So we're going to do it now. The referee's going, right, okay. Take the throw in from where it went out. There you go. That's the way it's going to be. I'll now start clamping down on it if this is the way you're going to be with it. Anyway, that was what happened in Bahrain. What is key here is France. Let me talk about France. France is a completely different kettle of fish, because we can go back onto this FIA website, we can go to the French Grand Prix, we can go down to the race director's notes, and the race director's notes are event notes version 3. Okay, so we click on events notes version 3, and here we are. Just confirm that here it is. Events notes version 3 from Michael Massey, and we go down these. And track limits at France. Number 22, turns 1 and 2. Any driver, not all, just any, right? Because any doesn't mean all. Remember that, kids. Any driver, okay? But any driver doesn't include Max Verstappen, but we'll come to that. Any driver who fails to negotiate turn 2 by using the track, and who passes completely to the right of the first fluorescent yellow bollard on the apex of the corner, must keep completely to the right of the fluorescent yellow bollard and rejoin the track by driving through the two arrays of blocks in the runoff by passing to the right of the first and the left of the second. See image 1. So let me just read through that again. Turns 1 and 2. Any driver who fails to negotiate turn 2 by using the track and who passes completely to the right of the first fluorescent yellow bollard on the apex of the corner must keep completely to the right of the fluorescent yellow board and rejoin the track by driving through the two arrays of blocks in the runoff by passing to the right of the first and to the left of the second. See image 1. So let's have a look at image 1. Let's have a look, because you can keep scrolling down and we get image 1, turn 1 and 2. Let's make it bigger so we can have a look. So these are the yellow bollards, okay? These are the yellow bollards. These are the array of blocks that he's talking about. So if you're not on the track, yeah, if you are to the right of these fluorescent bollards, then you can't come on the track over here. You have to come over here and past this bollard on the right and then this next bollard on the left. So effectively you've got to make a bit of a chicane through there and through this bit of a road there to rejoin the track after the turn. Okay, so let's make this clear. The race director before the event has stated here, if you go off the track and are this side to the right hand side of this fluorescent bollard, then you must rejoin the track by coming over to here to these, what do they call them, blocks. You've got to keep to the right of this one here, the first one, and to the left of the second. So you've got to go through there like a chicane and around on that bit of a track to rejoin the main track there. Race director's notes. Known by all teams and all drivers, that have all been briefed about it. This is what you must do should that happen. Let's have a look what happens. So we can look at the race in 30. Okay, rather than go through the whole event for these kids that have only got the 10-second attention span, watch the race in 30 minutes and then you can miss some of the boring bits and you just get to see the exciting bits.
Here's the starting grid then. Max Verstappen, a fifth career pole for the third time this season. It's a front row that features Max Verstappen and
a fifth career pole. So this is his 125th Grand Prix. Or no, 126th. Because wasn't it Monaco he'd done 124 Grand Prix. And the first time he'd led the championship out of past him. So that was Monaco his 125th. And then Azerbaijan is 126th, and is this his 127th? Something like that. It's a lot. It's a lot. But it's fifth pole position. And these are the two greatest. The guy on the right's got 100 pole positions. Okay. Just to clear that up. And it's lights out, and away we go.
win today. It's lights out, and away we go. Even stop.
Okay, I've got to keep stopping this because, you know, it'll get blocked if I don't. So if you want to watch it in full, subscribe to F1 TV and put some money into the pockets of the corrupt regime.
From the front two, Bottas gets away better than Perez, who's...
Okay, so we're coming down to turn one. Let's keep our eye out for these fluorescent bollards and let's have a look what happens.
Quickly caught by Carlos Sainz, Verstappen leading them there. Down towards turn one.
Remember turns 1 and 2.
From Hamilton, from Bottas.
Whoa! What's going on here? Max Verstappen's come too fast and can't make it round a corner. Karoon, tell us what's going to happen. And Max has got so much extra speed and it's understeer, understeer, understeer. Right, okay. So Max has left the track. And Max, as you're driving at that bollard, has gone to the right-hand side of it. What have we got to do, kids? What have we got to do? Those of you that were in the driver's briefing, if you find yourself in this position here, what have you got to do now? Put your hands up. Don't shout out. Don't write your comments in the comments section yet. I'll ask you. I'll pick somebody who I think is going to get the right answer, because I know some of you retards are going to get this wrong, and I don't want you giving disinformation to people. Okay, you'll ruin the knowledge of the whole class. So Max is there.
Who just has to back.
Oh, so he's passed that on to the right of the bollard, hasn't he? Couldn't get back on track before it, could he?
Up a bit.
So what's he got to do now? What's he got to do now?
Verstappen
Oh, what's he doing now?
goes off the track, and that.
Oh, that's not okay, is it? Let's have a look again.
Quickly caught by Carlos Sainz. Verstappen leading them then down towards
Change your camera angle, you miss it all.
turn one from Hamilton from bottom.
Oh, he's off.
Who just has to
And he can't get back on.
back up a bit. And Verstappen
So, he needs to come across here somewhere. Now, we can't see it.
go.
There they are. This is this array of bollards. See that behind the Red Bull now? That's the first bollard that he had to keep to the right of. And this is the second bollard that he had to keep to the left of. So he had to go across there, around where I'm waving my cursor, around here, and then back through there. Now, with it being lap one, with all of those cars streaming by, where does that put Max Verstappen when he gets back on track? How many places does Max Verstappen lead? Lead. Well, he loses the places. Said the wrong word.
Goes off the track, and that gives the lead to.
Look at all these cars streaming by. Now, right, these are the bollards. This is one here. He's missed it. He's not back on track. So he's got to come over here, and he's got to go through there, and he's got to do that. Now, going through that chicane, you've got to do that at the right speed. And how many cars are streaming by the time you've managed to negotiate that? Oh, that'd be most of them. That means that turn one, you've messed up, and you are fighting your way back from the back of the grid.
Lewis Hamilton.
But he's in second. Okay, he's lost the lead. He's in second.
Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez. Sainz now looking to make a move on the Red.
Well, like I say, I can't play too much of this, but I just want to hear what Martin says. We'll get to what Martin says.
Bull. Behind him comes Pierre Gasly. But Max Verstappen, what a poor turn two that was.
Absolutely right. But come on. Martin will tell us. Martin's the expert.
And locking up. And if you don't make the corner through turn one,
But if you don't make the corner through turn one, what happens, Martin?
you're supposed to go through an
You're supposed to go through.
escape road and through a zigzag chicane as well.
Martin can tell us. Martin's read the race director's notes.
If you don't go the correct side of the bollard,
So if you don't go the correct side of the bollard, which he didn't go the correct side of the bollards, you've got to go through that straight road.
It cost Max Verstappen dear. Is at the rear of the field, both Latifi and Russell battling away the two Williams. Latifi has got ahead of it.
So what does that mean? That means a penalty. So by not doing it, what has been the consequence? What's been the impact? Well, you have been told that that is what you have to do. Had you have done that, then that would have cost you that amount of time. And in going through those bollards and coming onto the track in the correct way, it's highly likely that the majority of those cars would have passed you. They'd have all streamed by you on the track because they managed to get round that corner correctly, and you'd have rejoined that race close to, if not in, last position. Therefore, there needs to be a consequence for that. There needs to be a consequence for you breaking the specific rules of that track at that corner. Now, is 5 seconds sufficient? Now, if you know you'd have been relegated to the back of the pack, is a 5-second penalty sufficient? Should this now be a stop-go penalty where you come into the pits and just serve a penalty and out you go again, where you're not even allowed to change tyres, where you lose 30 seconds off your race time?
his teammate already, Hamilton, who's led 105 of the last 106 laps here at Paul Ricard.
Another laps-led statistic that's completely irrelevant.
Car is streaking ahead. Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon swapping places. Norris is 10th, Leclerc up into 7th, ahead of Fernando Alonso, as you can see on your screen.
And what?
Max Verstappen gave the front wing a fair old whack as well.
Indeed.
On the curb, so it's allowed Hamilton to get away. And really, that was... and I'm surprised that Max locked up, because he really wasn't under particular pressure going into the first corner.
Carried so much extra speed, that's the thing.
Yeah, it certainly looked like he got a decent getaway. We'll see a replay in a moment as Fernando Alonso all over the rear of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, trying to make a move past but having to settle down into 8th place. The stewards are saying no investigation necessary.
Let's just double check what the stewards are saying.
Fernando Alonso all over the rear of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, trying to make a move past but having to settle down into 8th place. The stewards are saying no investigation necessary on that turn 2 incident where Max Verstappen went off the track.
Oh, okay. You absolutely deserved it, Max. You absolutely deserved it. You had no luck. You absolutely deserved it. Yeah, what about Bahrain? Okay. So, who are them stewards? Tim Mayer, Eric Barabino, Yannick Dalmas, and Jean-Marie Krempf. So what are the stewards looking at here? They're investigating Sergio Perez in one of the Red Bulls for allegedly leaving the track. Well, we don't need to allege when we've got evidence, okay? So fact, session, fact, alleged leaving the track. Is it an allegation or is it a fact? Let's have a look. Sergio Perez on Valtteri Bottas, because he's carrying so much extra speed. What's he doing now? Oh. Can he keep on track? Oh, no he can't. See, the track limit, right, is this white line here. It's not even these red and white curbs here. The track is the white line in between the tarmac and the curbing. That is the track limit. Okay? We established that when I went through the regulations earlier. I think that's a clear indication. You can look at the attitude of that car and you can understand that even the back wheel, because we can only see the front ones, even the back wheel is not going to be in contact with that line. Clearly left the track. Oh, and he's back on now. Okay, he got back on. Anyway, back to the facts presented by the stewards. The alleged leaving of the track that we have just established as being a fact that he did leave the track and gaining a lasting advantage. So he's performing an overtaking manoeuvre, and because of the manner he's done that, he's not able to stay on the track. That's an illegal overtaking manoeuvre then, isn't it? An alleged breach of Article 27.3. Well, you've breached it because you've left the track and gained a lasting advantage. That's quite clear. Decision. Once again, no further action required. The stewards reviewed video evidence, positioning and timing data, just as we've just done. We've just been able to review that evidence. We're all capable of being stewards, okay? The stewards determined that Perez had fully completed the pass on Bottas by the time he'd left the track. Right, okay. So if he hadn't been going that fast, that caused him to have to leave the track, right, would he have made the overtake? Oh. The stewards determine But this made the fact that he left the track subsequently as a standard track limits question. The stewards determined that Perez lost sufficient ground in the following turn that he could not have deemed to have gained a lasting advantage. The stewards take no further action. Competitors are reminded they have a right to appeal, but when you appeal, you've got to pay the FIA £5,000 or something for an appeal, whatever it is. Are you aware of the corruption? Do you actually understand the corrupt decision making here? Let's see whether Perez gained a lasting advantage or not. So, in order to overtake somebody, you've got to overtake them and stay on track. Oh, he's about overtaking him now. I would show you this from Bottas's view, but they show the rear pointing camera from Bottas, so it's a waste of time. It's funny because they switch from front to rear, and then you don't get the incriminating evidence, do you? Too hot around the corner. He's off the track. Oh, he's ahead of him already, so he's not gained a lasting advantage. No. You've just overtaken him, and you've immediately gone off the track. You've immediately gone off the track. So let's see how many seconds it is. We'll look at the point where he's level with him. Okay, so we're at 1:29.46. And we're at 1:29.51. So within 5 seconds, it's all part of that same sweeping manoeuvre. He's not kept it in control, has he? He's left the track. So you've got to give that place back. Oh, it's a Red Bull car. No further action required. Just like that one, when we've got a clear set of parameters that have been set. These are the rules, and this is what you must do if you are in that situation. Oh, Max has done it. No further action required. Max, you had no luck at all season. You didn't have any help from the racing gods all season. You fully deserved it. You had no luck. You fully deserved it. I intended to do this video as looking at France and the 2 Austrian races. But when you pick out this, it deserves its own standalone video. So hopefully the next one will be the 2 Austrian races, unless I come up with even more. Now, what happened in the rest of the French race was, once again, Mercedes was shit. Lewis Hamilton was leading the race by 3 seconds. And after the first round of pit stops, Red Bull were in the lead. Okay, a 3-second lead that should have prevented an undercut, and they pit Hamilton, and Hamilton comes out in second. And then they determined that the sets of tyres that they're on weren't going to last the whole race. So Lewis is on, so okay, make sure we do the undercut this time, because Lewis was close to Max at that point in time, less than 3 seconds behind Max. Lewis said, let's make sure if we get the undercut this time. What happens? Red Bull pit again. So Mercedes then go, all right, okay, we won't bother pitting. We'll stay long. And Verstappen catches him with a lap and a half to go. Piss poor Mercedes strategy, which we can identify in numerous races. They are absolutely dog shit on that Mercedes pit wall. And even, Valtteri Bottas gets caught by both the Red Bulls. That one obviously being the illegal overtake by Perez. And he gets on the radio and is even saying, I've told you this was a 2-stopper. Why'd you never listen to me? Well, they're shit. Let's be clear. It's almost like self-sabotage. That Mercedes strategist, that strategy team for Mercedes is absolutely dog shit. But that'll do for this video. Strap on, fanboys. Can you give me your answer to explain what you've just seen? You won't be able to, because whenever you are presented with reality, you just contort reality and come up with some bullshit in the comment section. The best that you can come up with is something like, "Oh, move on already. Oh, he's still crying. We're now in 2024. This was 6 years ago. Move on already. Ha ha." That's all you've got. What about Bahrain? Okay, what about France? What about France when your boy here would have been demoted to the back of the grid and the FIA, the BORT governing body that don't apply penalties to Red Bull, just went, yeah, nothing to see here. What about that? But I've taken you through Bahrain. I've demonstrated to you the notion that track limits is one of these things that often is not a factor in Formula One. It happens, but it's not a major penalty. It's become more of that over time. But the penalty is, if you overtake a car by going off the track, you have to give that advantage back. You have to give that place back, which is what happened. But it didn't happen here. Because the stewards, once again, favoured Red Bull. Anyway, that'll do for this one. Thank you for your time. Keep liking, keep subscribing, but please keep sharing this. Please keep sharing these videos with other people that you know so they get to see the reality of what's going on, because it's just a fucking narrative. This show is a narrative and nobody is breaking it down to show you what is really going on. And everybody's just falling for the same bullshit all the time. Riding this wave, oh, let's move on with excitement. No, it's corrupt. Okay, I don't want to watch a sport that's corrupt and contrived. It's not a sport. Okay, it's fraudulent. And why should we be subjected to being interested in a sport, having our favourite competitors within a sport, or admiring certain sportsmen within that sport, and actually what we're watching, those sportsmen that we do admire, and that can be any of the drivers on the grid, and I will bar Max Verstappen from this because Max Verstappen is the golden child that gets gifted everything, right? What is the point in supporting any of those drivers, no matter who you support, when they're not on a level playing field? They're not the ones that get away with everything and get gifted everything. Well, what are you watching? It's not a sport, is it? So until it gets sorted out, what's the point in watching it? So everybody needs to start understanding and demanding that this whole thing changes. This whole regime changes. So please share it and please start waking other fans of the sport up. Thanks for your time.